Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So New Jersey just defied the Supreme Court. On top of that, they passed the most sweeping gun control package that I have seen from any state yet. And that includes New York, Illinois, Oregon, and even California. So this unconstitutional bill just passed in the Assembly, and we're going to talk about what it does today, so stay tuned. This video is sponsored by Acre Gold, which in my opinion is the best way to get into gold. This is how I got into gold, because we all know that gold is very expensive. So the upfront cost to get into gold can be quite a bit. Acre Gold lets you buy gold incrementally. Acre Gold has 4 different subscription plans: a new $30 plan for a 1-gram bar, a $50 plan, a $100 plan, and a $250 plan for a 10-gram bar. When your gold stash adds up, so each month that you pay for your subscription, it adds up. Once you get enough money for a 2.5 gram bar on the $50 plan, they ship you out a physical 2.5 gram bar of gold. Now, they also have that $100 subscription plan, which gets you into a 5 gram gold bar. Now, if you don't feel like storing gold on site is an option for you, Acre Gold also has a way to buy digital gold so that they'll keep the gold safe for you. And I suggest that you go over to their website, which I'm going to link down below, and check it out for yourself and figure out which one is going to be the best option for you. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this. And I got to be honest, there's not too many bills that I see that are so overreaching, so unconstitutional, and so broad that I don't even know where to start. But this bill is one of those. We're talking about A4769. This is I made a video on this a little bit in the past, but not since it actually passed the Assembly with all of its amendments and so forth. A4769 is primarily a carry bill. Now, it's a carry bill, and it contains a lot of things that revolve around carry, but it also contains provisions and new laws for things that really don't involve carry at all, and just basically wipe out the Constitution, wipe out the Second Amendment in New Jersey altogether, because this is going to require a permitting process, increased fees, training, education, all sorts of things before you can even get a permit to own something, and then also requires training and permits and all sorts of crazy stuff in order to carry. It basically, makes it nearly impossible. Then once you get your carry permit, if you actually make it through that entire process, then the amount of restrictions that are placed upon you and restrictions on where you can carry make it virtually impossible to actually leave your house. It restricts things very similar to New York, where you can't go, parks, playgrounds, you can't go into ordinary areas, common places. It also restricts who can get a permit, including people that are disabled in a way that they feel that it might be unsafe to issue them a permit. And it's very vague as to who is going to fall into that category. So there is a lot going on in this bill. Let's just go ahead and start with some of the carry stuff. Okay, so when it comes to this bill and carry, the first thing is you have to get a permit from New Jersey, right? In order to get that permit, you have to have a purchaser's identification card, and you have to obtain something. Now, after you've obtained that thing, they're going to want you to go through training. They're also going to want you to obtain liability insurance. And to my knowledge, the type of liability insurance that they're asking for does not exist, because we're not talking about, a self-defense liability insurance that, let's say, covers you in court or something like that. If something happens, you have to defend yourself. We're talking about things that cover other people. So if something happens and, there's an innocent bystander or something that becomes involved, right? The type of insurance that they want you to have is supposed to cover them. Now, let's say that you do get that insurance, you do complete the training, and you start going further into the application process. Well, they're going to want to interview some people. They want to know about you. They want to know where you live and whether or not people think that, you're a danger to anybody else. They want to know a lot about who you are, what other people think of you, in order to determine whether or not you're of a good moral character. So again, we're with this good moral character thing. We wiped out, just cause or good cause and simply replaced it with good moral character, another unconstitutional thing, because you're having somebody who is, biased judge whether or not you're of good moral character, and there's not really a standing to say whether or not somebody is or isn't, and why that should remove their rights from them. Okay, now just saying you made it past all of that and you actually were able to obtain a permit. You went through the extended background check, you went through all of the hoops that they want you to jump through, and you got your permit. Well, you pretty much can't leave your house, because you can't go to pretty much all of the sensitive locations that they have listed, including places that just are high traffic places. If a lot of people gather there, well, that's pretty much out. You're not allowed to go there. If you want to go to a private business or a store, you want to go shopping, you want to go get groceries or whatever, unless unless the owner of that property has specifically said that you're allowed to carry there, you can't enter the business. So these places have to say that people with permits are allowed on their property. If it doesn't have a sign like that, again, you can't go there. So you're jumping through all of these hoops, you're going through all of these things, and then once you actually get it, you're done. Now, a lot of people rely on public transit. That's kind of how people get around, especially when it comes to big cities. People use buses, people use taxis, things like that. Well, guess what? Certain types of transportation, including public transportation, are going to be totally off limits, which means if that's your only form of transportation and you leave the house on foot to get on a bus or something, well, you can't take it with you. And if you can't take it with you, it doesn't matter where you get off the bus or what you're going to do, because it completely blocks you off right there altogether. So again, after you jump through all of those hoops and you get your permit, you still can't use it. Now, this bill also does something that is remarkably unconstitutional and makes changes to purchasers' permits, which to me is totally unconstitutional. Can you imagine having to get a permit so that you can have free speech? I'd like to apply to be able to have my free speech, please. Well, obviously, nobody would stand for that, but they think it's okay for the Second Amendment. You should need a permit in order to practice that. But they're going to make some changes. They're making changes to how much they're going to charge you for that permit. They're saying that basically because of inflation and the amount of time that has passed, the amount that they were charging in the past is no longer relevant to today. So they're going to charge you a bit more for everything. Also, who can get one, and basically what determines whether or not you're even qualified to get one. Now, these new rules greatly decrease the number of people who can get one, and basically they'll determine that, thank you very much, and they're going to go ahead and use specific determinations like law and your physical abilities and what people think of you and say of you and stuff like that. They're going to go ahead and take a look at your past, and they're going to see whether or not you're a qualifying person, and the number of people who are unqualified is going to greatly increase under this. And like I said before, that also includes physically disabled people, people who might have a difficult time using things. So there's stuff out there to help them use that in order to defend themselves. But, we know that the federal government is trying to get rid of those things that would actually help those disabled people. And without those things being available, technically, under these new laws, this new bill, they wouldn't be able to get a purchaser's permit. So it really does go after people. It goes after their character. It goes after their previous offenses. As a matter of fact, it unseals documents, court documents, for things that happened to people when they were minors. So let's say you were 15, 16 years old and something happened, right? You got in trouble for that, but as an adult, everything's been perfectly fine. You were just a kid who, didn't know better. You did something stupid, right? You got caught for it. Well, they're going to go ahead and unseal those records, and if it was for one of the violations that they determined to be, harsh enough back then that it would apply as an adult as an unqualifying factor, then that childhood thing is also going to be an unqualifying factor now as you're an adult. So there's a lot of new restrictions here. Now, this only passed by a margin of 1 vote. Okay, so it was very close. There was a long debate, but try and keep in mind that from the very beginning of this bill, when it was introduced, I believe back October 13th, we're only looking at what, today's the 22nd of November. So in just a little bit over a month, this bill went from being introduced to passed. And we're talking about, major constitutional consequences here. And so they didn't take their time at all. And as far as I understand, the debate only took about 90 minutes on this particular bill. 90 minutes worth of debate over people's rights. Absolutely incredible. So again, it passed by 1. It's going on to the Senate now. We'll see what happens in the Senate. But if the Senate passed it, we already know that the governor is going to sign it. So we will follow this one very closely. Hopefully it doesn't go any further, but it's not looking that great. We will see. Thank you all very much for watching. Please check out Acre Gold down below. They support the channel. They support the information that I'm giving you guys. And also, read the text. It's very important to stay informed. Thanks again. Have a great day.